The UK police have been criticised for leaving more than 1 million cases of theft and burglary in England and Wales last year unanswered, unaccounted for. The proportion of crimes that concluded with a charge is also down to just 5.4%, which is, I think most people would agree, quite a shockingly low number. Well, the Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has branded the figures disgraceful. There is more to this than meets the eye, as ever. And joining me to discuss this right now is Donna Jones, Hampshire Police and Crime Commissioner. Donna, thank you very much. Let's just tackle this head-on initially. The British public will see these numbers out. 1 million burglaries left unsolved, 1 million crimes like that left unsolved. And they will think, well, actually, I'm not being protected by my police force. What's going on?
Well, two things, Patrick. First of all, there has been a slight increase particularly in robbery. So teenagers, often teenage boys being robbed by other teenage boys. In fact, actually, burglary rates have come down. But I do share the concern that there is not a high enough solving and charge rate across England and Wales, as per the statistics that we've seen today in the national media. Now, this is in part because 3 or 4 years ago, there was a new policing protocol that was brought in, and it's called crime data integrity. And that's where, when you report a crime, you're asked at the time of being interviewed by a police officer, have you ever been a victim of any similar type of crime in the past? And if you say yes, they have to log every single incident. Now, I could be a victim of robbery or theft or burglary today. I may not want you to investigate anything that happened to me 3, 4, 5 years ago, but I'm telling you because you've asked me. So that's what's made the crime rates, the crime stats increase, look like there's been a massive spike in crime, when in fact there hasn't been. But there certainly is a concern for me as a police and crime commissioner with us not solving enough crimes. That is definitely the case.
Well, reading between the lines here, now obviously several thousand, I think it was 20,000 is the figure, police officers were one way or another axed under Theresa May. And then I'm looking at some other stats here which shows that one of the main reasons why they couldn't find, well, they had to drop cases into the 1,145,254 theft and burglaries is because they couldn't find a suspect, supposedly. And then I'm reading here as well about 300,000 violent crimes. They were dropped. 2 million inquiries were dropped with no suspects identified. And I'm wondering whether or not this is police not being able to do their basic job, which is, frankly, hunt down a suspect.
Well, I think it's twofold. First of all, it's that additional historical reporting, which is skewing the figures, which is not helpful. But secondly, yes, we don't have enough cops in Britain right now. And that's why the Conservative government's pledge that 20,000 additional police officers, which, as you say, is in a large way, is recouping some of those police officers that were cut throughout austerity when Britain was trying to live within its means financially. So that is going towards recouping some of those police officers that were previously cut. Now, as you've said, the Shadow Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has come out today to say that the Labour Party, if they form the next government, will increase the number of police officers by 13,000 additional cops. Now, they know that the Conservative government are going to say exactly the same thing in the lead up to the next general election. They're trying to pip the Conservative government to the post here. What I am concerned about with Yvette Cooper's pledge today is we know that a new police officer costs around £50,000 a year. It's around £25,000 for their salary, 31% on cost with their pension, employers' NI, their training costs, their kit, everything else. So as police and crime commissioners, we allow around £50,000 a year. Now, 13,000 cops that Miss Cooper has announced today as the Labour pledge will cost £650 million. Now, the way that she's saying that she will pay for this is through improving procurement amongst police forces. Well, that would average out, there's 43 police forces in England and Wales, that averages out at just over £15 million per police force. Now, I can tell you, if there was 15 million quid to be saved in procurement with other police forces, I'd be doing it. I worked in banking. That's my profession before I got involved in politics, before I became a police and crime commissioner. There is not 650 million quid's worth of savings to be made across the country from procurement only. We already have a company called Blue Light Commercial. The Home Office set it up a couple of years ago. I was a director of that. I sat on the board of that until July this year. We are already procuring and buying things together, such as tasers, kits, uniforms, police cars. We're already doing this stuff. So what we've sadly got here again is uncosted, undeliverable, and I just think not very well thought out policy by Labour yet again. bit like Diane Abbott all over again, really.
Well, I was about to say, yeah, you can imagine Diane Abbott doing the numbers on that. But that said, the British public, I think, could argue that there is the money out there. Potentially the money is being spent in different places. There is perhaps a certain irony, I won't get you to comment on this, but perhaps a certain irony that the security of the people in Kiev seems to be looked after with a blank cheque, but the security of someone in Shropshire or Derbyshire or Luton doesn't appear to be maybe treated with the same vigour. But do you think that we should, in all areas of society now, be spending more money recruiting our police force? Because I think we need a massive recruiting thing, especially given the fact that a Labour London mayor actually seems to be doing the anti-PR for the police, calling them all racist and misogynist, etc.
Yeah, I do. I do think we should be paying them a little bit more as their starting salary. I think that we need to look at the way that police pensions are calculated at the moment. Police officers cannot realise their pension at 30 years and then carry on working in policing. So they often go off and work in security, or they go off and work in in the MOD police. We are losing hundreds of years of experience every single month, with cops retiring at 50, 51, 52 years of age. They've got a good 10, 15 years worth of work in them before they would properly want to retire. So we do need to look at that. I've spoken to the Home Secretary about that direct already. But yes, I do think that we do need more police. I do very much welcome any political party's pledge to increase the number of police officers on the streets of Britain, and I'm very much looking forward to the Conservative Party, I hope, unveiling that similar pledge.
Well, they're going to have to. They're going to have to, because at the minute there is a slight open goal for Labour, not least because the Tories have been in power so long, so that anything bad can actually be pinned on them, but also Labour looking like Yvette Cooper to steal a bit of a march and talk about refunding the police, which is nice because we've had a conversation about defunding them for far too long. But Donna, thank you very much. Donna Jones, our Hampshire Police and Crime Commissioner.